Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings from HRDI to everyone. The resource person of today's session is PP, founder, faculty of Harvard Business School and University of North Carolina, Charlotte, senior vice president, Bank of America. So now I am requesting Bushra ma'am to start the session. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning from Charlotte, North Carolina. Good evening in Bangladesh. And I understand a number of you are joining from outside of Bangladesh and the United States, from all over the world. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever applies. I'm glad to be here. And this session is going to be very informal. We'll make it very informal. We'll have a question answer session. And if you have seen the session topic, it says speak up, right? We want to hear from you. All of us are going through a lot of different kind of emotions right now, and we're trying to tackle everything that comes our way. So this is a time for you to talk to somebody, right? You need to be able to connect with someone. You need to talk with someone where you can tell them what you're thinking. You want to help in this case, we're going to talk about the university. All of you are students. My audience today is my favorite audience, students. I talked to teachers the other day, and today I'm talking to the students, and then I talk to other audiences, but this is my most favorite format audience, if you will. Students are the lifeline of what I do. It's the passion, my calling, teaching. So today I'm going to talk to you not as a teacher. You don't want any lecture anymore. You have seen enough lectures. You do go through a lot of lectures. What I want to do is quickly cover what we are going through right now, our mental condition, and then I'm going to quickly cover on what the teachers are thinking, right? What the university is thinking, given the pandemic that's happening right now, given the outbreak, COVID-19. And then I want to hear from you. What are you thinking? What do you want to do? What do you think this is going to affect you personally, emotionally, from an education perspective, from a mental health perspective, from the quality of what you're doing right now? Do you have any suggestion for us? For DIU authorities, for teachers, do you think there is any way you can help us make it better? And when I say us in this case, I am meaning the DIU administration faculty. So I want you guys to be very open, communicative, feel free, speaking out, telling us what you're thinking, because whatever you tell us is what is going to help us shape what the future looks like for you, right? So with that, I'm going to go through a 10 minutes, very short presentation. I know that the attention span for the students or for anybody for that matter is no more than 8 seconds at a time. So I want to make it a little bit visual for you. So I'm going to share my presentation, 10 minutes. You can probably hear my dog in the background, so sorry about that background noise. He's, for whatever reason, a little bit cranky today. So I'm going to go over 10 minutes, and then I'm going to leave it open for your questions and answers. I hope it makes sense, and I can't hear you right now, but I plan to have a very interactive session in a little bit. With that, I'm going to go ahead and share my presentation, my screen with you, and then quickly cover what we want to talk about. Hope that's okay. So I'm going to present my screen. Okay. I can't see anything right now except my full screen. Can somebody speak up and tell me that you can hear me and you can see my screen? Just one person.
Yes, madam. We can hear you and see you.
Good, good. And see my screen, right? You don't have to see me per se, but my screen.
No, ma'am, we can't see your presentation.
Okay. So if you're not talking, please put yourself on mute because that's the best way we can make sure that everybody can hear us. And then when it's question and answer, we'll make sure we make it as interactive. So today's session or tonight's session is COVID-19 Speak Up Students. Like I said, I have other audiences before, but this is my most favorite type of audience. So thank you for joining today's session. I'm gonna, like I said, it's gonna be a very short presentation. I just quickly want to talk about how this pandemic has touched everyone's life, right? Nearly all aspect of our normal life has been impacted by this pandemic. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit. I'm just gonna give you something to think about, right? To noodle on, to think if this is going to be, if this is a good thing, good crisis to have as a student, or is it a bad thing? And then I want to hear from you. So pandemics in the history. If you thought that the schools never shut down before today or this time, this month or this year, that's wrong. Yes, it is true that you and I haven't seen anything like this before. Probably not our parents, maybe our grandparents. I don't know. 100 years ago, they shut down the school all over the United States for sure. Which was the Spanish flu. However, pandemic, which means that it's a global outbreak of a disease. So if you look at the picture, you'll see that it's pretty flowers. It's not flowers, actually. As you know, they look pretty in a picture, but it's all over the world. So when something, the outbreak happens all over the world, that's when we call it pandemic. In Bangla, Mohammadi. Oh, by the way, I am reminded to speak in English because our audience today is international. So I won't go as much as I do between English.
Excuse me, ma'am. Sorry for interruption. We cannot see the presentation probably. Can you ask?
Oh, you can't. Can you see it now?
No, ma'am.
Sorry about that. An error has occurred when screen sharing. Do you see it now?
No, ma'am.
Not
How about
really.
now?
No, ma'am. Not yet.
Okay, it shows that I am sharing my screen. So that could be because
that happens, ma'am. Sometimes in Google Meet that happens. Ma'am, can you just immediately send it to the HRDI mail to Obaid Bhai? Then we can come up with the presentation.
Okay, so give me a second to do that.
Ma'am, আপনি log out করে again আবার join করেন. Then I think it will work.
Okay, let me log out then. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Dear participant, we will wait for a few minutes till ma'am get back again. This happens sometimes in Google Meet, so it's not a new case. Really sorry for that.
Okay, we're waiting.
Thank you.
All right, do you guys hear me? Do you see me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
All right, so let me try presenting again. Do you guys see me? My screen?
Yes. Now we.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right, a little glitch. What is life without technology glitch, right? It has to happen, otherwise it's not complete. how do I hide this little sharing your screen, stop sharing? I don't know how to hide it. I think.
Press on the hide. Yes.
All right. Now you see me.
Yes.
All right. Good. Hello?
Yes, ma'am. We can
Yes, ma'am. We can completely hear you and see your presentation. Please.
Good, thank you. All right, I can't see it, so I can't tell. I can only see my screen. Sorry about this whole glitch. But then again, guys, this is real life, right? It has to happen. If it didn't happen, it would not be an educational session. So I'm very glad that happened. And you know what? This is a really good example. Do you see how we had some problem, but we tackled it, right? We tackled it nicely. We experienced this little bump on the road, but we knew how to come back on track, and we're right on track. We have probably lost 2 to 3 minutes in the process. This is exactly what I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight or today. Is this pandemic has put a pause in our life where we are all struggling, right? We're struggling to figure out what needs to be done. This is this brief 2 minutes that we have lost in the process, that we lost our presentation. We couldn't see each other. You couldn't see me. I had to log out. I had to log back in. But at the end, everything worked out. I'm here. Everybody can see me. Everybody can hear me. COVID-19 is exactly that little pause in our life right now. The world has seen similar pauses before 2020. This is not the first time ever. I'm so glad that this happened, because now you can tell, right? Life will come back. So it started, and this timeline here shows you all the pandemic that happened all over the world, right? Globally, long before even Jesus was born. So from 430 BC all the way down to 2020. And in 2020, and I'm not going to go over the pandemic history, but you can look over it if you want to later. But 2020 is a very special year for us in a way. This is the time of COVID-19, a time that none of us saw coming. And it came, and it hit us really hard. Hit us hard everywhere in the world, globally. So the best part about it, if you ask me, is that we all are hurting. We're all in this together. I don't know where you're logging in from. If you're logging in from Nigeria or from Australia or Bangladesh or United States, wherever, you have been a part of this, and it resonates with all of you. So that's the best part if you ask me about COVID-19. If anything, that's good. And then we're going to talk more about, like, is it good in any way? So what is the impact on the society? And I'm not going to go over the detail of the impact on the society. We talked about, like, how this has impacted us, basically nearly every aspect of our normal life. You and I are talking like this was not going to be happening if there was no pandemic, if there was no COVID-19. You'd be in the classroom right now. You will not be having the relationship that you have with your fellow friends, your peers, your parents, your family, and everything. So everything has been impacted. Our normalcy has been, that's gone, right? There are new normals right now. So what we were used to, we don't see that anymore. Now there are new normals. Having webinar is a new normal. Being able to have a technology solution to come back to it is a new normal, right? But we have lost the normalcy that we used to know. Businesses and lives significantly impacted. I hope that everything online today, you have not been impacted as much in the sense that financially, right? It hasn't basically thrown any one of you or your family or your loved ones into that uncertain water that so many other people are feeling right now. But either way, one way or the other, we all are affected. Unemployment, it has reached the levels that we have never seen before. You see, I do ACPP. I'm the founder of ACPP, and some of you are familiar with the project. This project was all about getting you a job even before you graduate, and we are continuing to pursue that and make sure that you do get a job before you graduate, right? So, but the good news is the process is going to change. Finding a job, people are losing job, left and right. Unemployment has reached the highest. So we now have to be very, very careful as how we mold ourselves, how we get ourselves ready for the job market going forward. So this is a time for us, again, a reset time for us to think different ways, right? Innovatively. Think innovation, reimagine life. But these are what we are facing right now. Colleges and universities are forced to shut down. So we're like, there's nothing we can do about it. We wake up in the morning, we heard that everything is shut down, and colleges and universities are no exceptions. And you all are feeling it firsthand. What is the impact on the education for colleges and universities? Now, I don't have to go over it. You already know what's happening. You have lost connection with the physical connection with your educational institutions. 1.6 billion students worldwide are affected. So the good thing is it's not just you, it's everybody in the world. 91% of all students in the world are affected. And you're one of them. So if anything, it's a collective thing. It's a collective, if you call it misery, it's a collective misery. So we call it opportunity, it's a collective opportunity, whatever you want to call it, it's a collective thing. If you know about Coursera, and I'm not getting into details, it's a good thing. So it's someone's, it's a good time for some companies. Coursera is an online platform which is seeing a 644% year-over-year growth, meaning last year this time, whatever their enrollment was, because it was online, a lot of people couldn't care less or didn't care as much because it's like it's online, it's secondhand, it's second class, it's not as good. So people did not enroll as much, but now people know the new normal is online is the way to go. 644% increase in enrollment there. In the United States, Congress has provided us $14 billion. Now, by us, I mean universities are getting $14 billion for higher education. However, they've already lost more than $37 billion, right? So to make that up would take some time, a lot of time. And then per University Grant Commission in Bangladesh, 63 universities have been shut down. I don't know if this was from 2 weeks ago. So I think it's still the stat is still correct. And from what I understand, the university's DIU is not opening until August 6th. I don't think any university or any educational institution in Bangladesh is opening up until August 6th. So this is a huge impact on education, huge impact on you being the student. We talk about it, it's online education, it's e-learning, it's online courses, it's webinar, it's me and you talking online, losing our connection. We're trying to do years of changes, right? In weeks, in actually a couple of weeks. We had to, if you really think about what DIU had to do for you, right? For you, the students, they had to put everything together, make sure you're equipped to do your work. A lot of you don't have internet access. A lot of you don't have computer, the device that you need. But I think DIU gives everybody a device. I'm not sure, but whatever it is, it's a tough time for everyone. You have to accommodate, you have to figure out a way innovatively because the schools are still, the online courses are still on and you're still doing it. So you will have to you're embracing learning anywhere, anytime. Learning anywhere, anytime is the result of this pandemic. Now, a lot of you probably thought about learning anytime, because you go online, you Google, you watch educational videos and whatnot, but learning anywhere, anytime was a luxury or something that you thought, oh, it's so cool that I can learn this way. But now it's no longer just a cool thing. It's a necessity. It's what you have to do. That's what pandemic pushed us to do, right? And then what's the impact on you? I do have a slide on it, and I'm not going to go over it because I want to hear it from you. I want to hear it from you. What have been the impacts after the schools have shut down? Right after the university is no longer in session, you can't see your friends. You cannot have all those meaningful conversations. You cannot have group work, teamwork, all those activities you used to do together. You guys have a beautiful campus in Bangladesh, and I have seen the campus. I love the campus, beautiful, and I'm sure you all did too. You all probably miss it a lot. People who lived on campus, right? The campus life has been taken away from you. And I hope the parents are not listening, but just being away from the parents, that's priceless. I have 2 kids. They still don't go to college, but they will pretty soon. I'm sure they're gonna love being away. So, your whole life has been taken away from you. A new method has been given to you. Now you have to excel and you have to perform and you have to make good grades. That's a lot of pressure. So I'm not going to go over this impact. I'm going to listen. I'm going to hear you talk about it. I'm quickly moving to impact on educators. If you think your teachers are not suffering, you are wrong. I promise you, from a teacher's perspective, I'm a teacher myself, the suffering is much more than your sufferings. You know why? Because we are the authority. We are in charge to make sure that you have to do well. It's a lot of pressure on us. Now that's on top of everything that we are struggling with on a daily basis. For most of us, we have families. We have to bring food to the table. We have to pay our bills. We have to make sure our children are in good health. We have to make sure that we are doing everything right. Then we have to make sure that our students, our other sets of children, are doing well and getting what they need. So I do want to take this opportunity for you to understand this is a very tough time for us teachers. So there are lots of education impact on us educators. This is an unprecedented urgency that's been given to us. We don't have a choice but to move everything to a brand new format that we've never used before. Now, when I say we, I'm focusing on DIU students and faculty in this case. For me, here at the United States, I teach at a university. I do a certification course for another university. For us, it's stressful as well. We're having to figure out how to juggle between things, how to make people happy, how to accommodate the changes. We're replicating we don't have an actual school building. We have to find a place to do the work, the lesson plans and whatnot. That's hard. This is not a session to talk about my sadness and how I'm struggling as a teacher, but the reason why I'm paying as much attention to this slide is because I want you to understand it's a tough time for everyone, including the teachers. So when I'm asking you as a teacher, please do your homework, or this is what I need, I understand it's very difficult for you as well, but it is very difficult for you. But I want you to resonate with the fact that it is difficult for the teachers as well. We ourselves are dealing with internet issues, access issues. Then when we hear that our students are struggling, that's a really sad thing for us. Not being able to help you when we want to is a sad feeling. If I was in the classroom and you were struggling with something, me being your teacher, I would do whatever I can to make it easy on you now. If you don't have internet access right now, if you don't have a device right now, if you don't have all the things that you need for your new format, it makes me sad and it puts a lot of stress on me because I want to be equal for everybody, right? So these are the things that us teachers are going through. And then the final thing is that every teacher, every one of us, we do have how do you say it? It's a core teaching philosophy. I have my way of teaching. Another professor has his way of teaching, her way of teaching, and we're good at what we do in a face-to-face setup. We have never done it online. For me, I have done it online. It's a different story. But for the most of us, my students, I've never done it online. All my classes are face-to-face, which is a total different feel and look. Now, I have a way of teaching that I feel really good about face-to-face. I don't know how to do it in online. I don't know how to replicate it. The things that make me a good teacher, I have lost it because of this pandemic. So that's an impact on me as a teacher. And finally, the universities. Universities are in a way, they're businesses, public or private, for profit, nonprofit. They have to run their business. They have to run everything that they're doing with the limited resources now they have available to them. Significant financial impact on the universities. They have a budget. Now they will have to make sure that their processes change, their application process change. Student enrollments are going to change. I'm not going to go a lot on this, but just so you know, parents are thinking differently. Do I send now these are for incoming students or potential students. Parents are thinking, do I want to send my son to X university or Y university or Z? They're thinking, Z is kind of easier because less money. There are lots of different kind of thoughts. We used to think, this university is good for my son, so I'm going to send my son or my daughter to this university because that's good for them. And now, as parents, and I'm a parent as well, I'm thinking, yes, that university is good, but that's too expensive. Do I want to send my child to that university? Can I afford it? So and university is struggling with that kind of thing because most of the university money is coming from the revenue, right? So there are lots of losses that the universities are bearing right now. Enrollment loss, tuition loss, international students, refunds, all sorts of stuff. Online platform, universities are having to invest a lot into the new platform that they have to stand up for you guys. That takes a lot of money. Ongoing cost of campus, that beautiful campus that you have. And this picture right now, by the way, is your downtown campus, but Dhanmondi campus, your main campus picture. This beautiful building, it takes maintenance, right? Your beautiful campus in Ashulia, beautiful, breathtaking. That takes money for operating costs and all sorts of operations out there. So these are the impacts on colleges and universities. The reason why I wanted you to be a part of this whole thing is because you need to see it from all angles, from teachers' angles, from parents' angles, from universities' angle. But we are here to talk about you, right? I just wanted to give you all the information so you can put it all together before we start our question and answer session. We don't need that. So the last thing that I want to talk about is before we jump into question and answer session, is it a good thing? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think COVID-19 is a good thing for education? Do you think it's a good thing for you? Do you think it's time for us to reimagine? Do you think it's time for us to rethink? Do you think it's time to disrupt? Do you think it's a silver lining for you to shine? Do you think, have you found something that makes you think that I'm glad that I got this opportunity? For example, the fact that my Google Meet link didn't work and that I had to log out and log right after that, immediately have to log back in. I thought initially, like when it happened, I was a little disappointed. Why would there be a glitch? But then now I'm kind of happy because I showed you how COVID-19 that gave me an opportunity to do a connection between COVID-19 and this couple of minutes that we have lost from life because of that internet connection going wrong. COVID-19 might might mean that we have lost some time, some meaningful times from our life. But is that a good thing? Did it give us anything in return? I want to talk to you about it. I want to hear your opinion. And I want to jump on to question and answer from this slide. So let me just, I will now have to go back to my Google session, stop presenting. And I want to stop right here and move quickly into the meat of the session, which is question and answer. But before that, I want to make sure that I covered everything. HRDI team, are we good to move on to the question and answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. We hope. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. We hope we can move on to the question and answer session.
Okay, I'm ready whenever you guys are. Thank you, everybody, for listening to another speech or lecture.
Sure, ma'am. So now I would request all the participants here to come up with your questions and queries. One by one, please. Can you hear me?
I can hear
Hello.
you here.
I would request all the participants to come up with your questions. Yes, please,
Hello, sir.
please.
My one question: how to improve my
MD Alam, you were supposed to asking a question or something. Please go on,
Yes.
please. Yes.
how to improve my online class in the pandemic situation, Corona?
How to improve?
Um,
Give me a little bit more. When you say how to improve your performance, improve your participation, improve your overall outlook. What are you trying to improve?
Thank you, ma'am.
No, actually, Mr. Alam, ম্যাম একটু ডিরেক্টলি জানতে চাচ্ছেন, একটু ডিপলি জানতে চাচ্ছেন যে কোন বিষয়টি আপনি আসলে ইমপ্রুভ করতে চাচ্ছেন, মানে এক্স্যাক্টলি অনলাইন ক্লাস, ইওর পারফরম্যান্স, মানে হোয়াট টাইপ অফ থিং ইউ ওয়ান্ট টু ইমপ্রুভ, দ্যাটস দ্য থিং। একটু যদি ক্ল্যারিফাই করতেন তাহলে কোয়েশ্চেনের আনসারটা একটু ক্লিয়ারলি দিতেন।
না, গ্রেডিং সিস্টেমটা,
Yes, ma'am.
হ্যালো,
Performance, classroom performance.
জি ম্যাম।
Acha. So, and Rabi, is it okay if I speak Bangla a little bit?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, the question is,
We have some international participants here.
international.
They will be
Okay. In English.
suffocating you.
In English.
Yeah.
Okay. So the question was how to improve your grades and your performance in the classroom. My answer to that would be, I want you to be feeling, first, make sure you're comfortable with the format, right? You have to be very comfortable with the online format. Second, make sure you have no question about what's asked of you. Look at your syllabus, okay? Make sure you understand the criteria. I'm hoping, and I think that your teachers have given you very clear instructions for you to make, because you asked about grade, for you to make A's, you will have to make sure that you have done A, B, C, and D. If you haven't completed everything, you will not make an A. So the first thing for you is make sure you're very comfortable with what the teacher is asking you to do, homework-wise, assignment-wise. And if you have any question, a lot of my students make the same mistakes. They assume, you think the teacher thinks that this is what the teacher wants. what I want you to do is don't think, please ask. Make sure you talk to your teachers, email your teachers, ask your teachers in an online format, have a one-on-one phone conversation. Do not speculate, do not think, do not try to think what the teacher is thinking. Instead, have a very clear and open communication. Ask your teacher, I want to make an A, what do I have to do? If you find it very difficult to ask that question, which you shouldn't because you're a student and every teacher would love to hear that. I want to make an A, what do I do? So make sure you understand your teacher's expectations for online classes. Now the expectations are different, right? That's what we talked about. We talked about the expectations, face-to-face expectations, you know it, your teacher knows it. Online expectations, these are brand new expectations. Make sure you understand your teacher's expectations. And that's all. If you know your teacher's expectations, you'd be able to do it. You'll be able to make good grades. I think that helps. I hope that helps.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Please don't tell me you guys don't have any
Okay,
questions.
we hope there will be many other questions also.
Please. Don't worry about it. Nobody's going to judge you. Nobody's going to grade you on your questions. No worries. And I'm an outsider. I'm not your teacher. I can't grade you or punish you or anything. Any question you may have about them, feel free.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum, ma'am. I am
Walaikum
Shafa
salam.
Hussain. I am doing my undergraduate in a software engineering department. I am in the 11th semester. I believe that a problem comes with new opportunities. So, what is your thinking about how it will take opportunity from the technical field, or in the technical field, how many new opportunities will be created?
When you say opportunity, do you mean jobs?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Without crisis, innovation doesn't happen. For innovation, crisis has to happen. So you are a software engineer student at DIU.
Yes, ma'am.
I hear it's a very, very good department. DIU is very strong in your field. So that's a good thing to begin with. You do have a good background. How would this pandemic affect you? Or how would it bring new opportunities for you? So if I have to put my technology hat on, I'm a very technical person. My undergraduate is in information systems, and I have managed and I do manage technology teams. So technology is one thing. And for the students out there that are not non-technology students, don't be worried. But we all know people in tech are probably the most desirable people, right? Because of the background and the experience that you bring to the table. Now, this pandemic, how does this directly correlate with a software engineer's potential job? I would say, if I was you, I would use this opportunity, this pandemic. I would do a few projects or some activity that would show my competence in doing remote work. We are going to come to a world when working remote, or people who are very comfortable working remotely or online, working from home, they will be valued much more than the people who don't feel comfortable working from home. So for all of you that are graduating soon, you're in 11th semester, meaning you're probably graduating in the next 2-3 months or so,
Yes,
or by the end of the year.
yes, ma'am.
If that's the case, make sure you utilize your time, come up with projects, come up with work that shows how you are so good at working from home or remotely, so your company, your potential company, is going to be interested in hiring you because we're going global. Bangladesh is not going to be just in Bangladesh. It's going to be global. So a software engineer is a software engineer is a software engineer all over the world. Now, if this software engineer is good to work online and remotely, you can be a very valuable teammate for a US company. So please make sure you take advantage of this pandemic, come up with topics and projects and works and activities that shows that you're really good at remote, in remote environments, including when you can show your grade, your performance is not going down because of this online format. That's also a good story to tell your potential employer. Tell your employer, we were online, everything switched overnight. Here was my grade before we went online. Here's my grade after we went online. Nothing changed. It looks even better. That says I'm similarly good in both in-person and online. I can work from anywhere. I am as good as it would be if you're hiring somebody from out of the country. Make your case. Write your story. Good story. Back it up with experience and data. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am, of course. And
Okay,
that's why
thank
I have started a little course in Coursera about data science. So I hope,
Good.
which is offered by IBM, and I hope it will work. It will help me to recover this situation, and I can improve my technical skills in the pandemic time.
You are ahead of time. You're doing a great job. You already know how to take advantage of this pandemic. Coursera data science course is very well regarded because again, like you said, it is going to be it's going to be certified by a world-class company. So this is going to make your resume look really good. So congratulations for taking the step forward.
Thank you, ma'am.
I have a question. Can I speak in Bangla?
Please, একদম।
ম্যাম, আমাদের করোনা পরবর্তী সময়কালে আমাদের যেহেতু এখন আমরা অনলাইন শিক্ষায় আমরা মনোনিবেশ করছি, তো করোনা পরবর্তী সময়কালে তো আমাদের ফিজিক্যালি আমাদের ইউনিভার্সিটি খুলবে এবং আমাদের ফিজিক্যালি এবং হচ্ছে আমাদের অনলাইনেও আমাদের কোর্স থাকবে, আমাদের বিভিন্ন ওয়ার্কশপ থাকবে। তো আমার কোশ্চেন হচ্ছে যে করোনা পরবর্তী সময়কালে আমাদের স্টুডেন্টদের কোনটার উপর বেশি জোর দেওয়া উচিত, অনলাইন শিক্ষা কার্যক্রমে বেশি নাকি বাস্তবিক ফিজিক্যালি, যেটা আমি হয়তো বুঝাইতে পারছি ম্যাম আপনাকে।
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ তুমি বলি বুঝাতে পারছো। And for those of you who speak in English, আমি নামটা ধরতে পারিনি, but the question was
মাহমুদ সাদিক বলছি ম্যাম, এনভায়রনমেন্টাল সায়েন্স এন্ড ডিজাস্টার ম্যানেজমেন্ট ডিপার্টমেন্ট থেকে, ডিআইইউ।
Disaster management, you should know the answer. তোমার তো অ্যানসার জানার কথা, তুমি disaster management, right? You work when a disaster happens, you know how to tackle it. This is the answer তুমি আমাকে দেওয়ার কথা. So the question is, for English speaking students, the question is, what's going to happen after COVID-19 is over? Let's keep our fingers crossed that it's going to be over very soon. Then what happens? Do we pay more attention to online or do we pay more attention to in person? That was the question. So I mean, I'm gonna answer in Bangla and then I will briefly translate it in English. তোমার যেটা সাদিক তোমাকে যেটা ভাবতে হবে সেটা হচ্ছে পৃথিবীর মানুষজন এখন ডিফারেন্ট ভাবে ভাবছে। We all have seen a different world. আমরা different একটা world দেখছি। So what you have to think is the world that we knew before Corona is not the same world anymore. Meaning it's going to have a lot of impact on what we have already experienced and seen. Ajke COVID-19, God forbid, kalke COVID-27 hobe na, we don't know. So universities will be ready for another potential disaster or pandemic. None of us were ready. We were hit like it came of who knows where. আমরা প্রত্যেকেই জানতাম না এটা, but now that everybody is ready, I think, and from what I understand from my experience and my educational institutions, যেখানে আমি পড়াই, the world is moving toward a hybrid format, online and in person. I don't know if either one is more important than the other one. I think it's going to be very equally balanced, hybrid, online and face-to-face. In some cases, online might take precedence over face-to-face, depending on the situation, যেখানে পারা যায়, because people will try to make it easy on themselves. You know, there will be a question, আমরা সেদিন অফিসে বলছিলাম, I work for a bank. We were saying, because now that আমরা সবাই বাড়ি থেকে কাজ করছি, working from home, the question now is, why do we need to meet in person? একটা সময় ছিল মানুষ বলতো অনলাইনে কেন মিটিং করব, এখন আমরা প্রশ্ন করছি in person মিটিং করা দরকার আছে, we can do it online. So that time is coming. So be ready. It's going to be, if not, online will take some time. In some cases, online উপরে চলে যাবে, will go over face to face. But be ready for both. So please do not give up on online education and your online experience, because when COVID is online, you think, oh, আমি তো এখন ইউনিভার্সিটিতে ব্যাক করছি, I can go back to my old self. Don't do that. Use this as an opportunity to make yourself equally valuable on both online and in person. ঠিক আছে?
Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're welcome. Is there any other question?
Ma'am, I'm Fazil Ahmed from English Department, DIU. I have a question, ma'am. Ma'am, I had a lot of attention in my education before quarantine, but when this quarantine, I cannot concentration in my education properly. So what I do will increase my attention in my education.
This is a very important question, and I'm so glad you asked that question. And it's cool. It's okay to say that you can't pay attention. It's okay to say that I'm stressed. It's okay to say I don't like it. I don't like to study. It's okay to say it. I have 2 sons. My older one goes to high school. He's going to college in a year. And my little one is a freshman. So not a freshman, he's a rising sophomore, meaning he's in 10th grade. Both my children, they're struggling in their own way, and I see it. When first my little one complained and he said he was very stressed, he said, Mommy, I don't want to do it. I don't like it. I'm stressed. My response was, what do you mean by you're stressed? You're a student. You're supposed to like it. You're supposed to work hard. You're supposed to do it regardless of how stressed. And why would you be stressed? Do you have to pay bills? No. Do you have to pay rent? No. Do you have to put food on the table? No. Why would you be stressed? So my son didn't know what to say, poor thing. But then I did some studies, and I see it from a student's point of view now. So it's a very good question. You can't pay attention. You can't pay attention. Well, how can you pay attention? Your heart's not into it. It's a brand new thing. It's a brand new ways, a lot of frustrations because you can't figure out what is right, what is wrong, how much should I do? You're constantly at home. You cannot see your friends. I mean, that's a huge stress in itself. That's your life. আড্ডা মারা, গল্প করবো, বন্ধুদের সঙ্গে থাকবো, হইচই করবো. There's all those are gone because of the fear that আমি বাইরে গেলে কি হবে. হয়তো maybe you have lost loved ones. You have been impacted mentally. Mental well-being is very important. And mentally ঠিক না থাকলে আমরা কিচ্ছু করতে পারি না, পড়ালেখা করতে পারি না, পড়াতে পারি না, পড়তে পারি না, দেখতে পারি না. So it's okay not to have attention. What I want you to do, in this case, যেখানে attention দিতে পারছো না, the best part is you are thinking about it. That আমি attention দিতে পারছি না কেন? Why can't I pay attention? That's the best part. The even better part is you already talked about it in a forum. that shows that you really want to help yourself. My suggestion, I'm not a mental health expert, but from my experience being a teacher, being a parent, আমার experience থেকে বলবো যে what you have to do is tell yourself that no one caused it. No one is to be blamed. It's done by nature. It happened, and nobody could have stopped it. It's nobody's fault. So the next thing is tell yourself, I need to be ready and accept it. What's happening to you? You're going through, you're grieving the normal life. You have lost your normal life and you don't like it. So you're upset about it. You're frustrated about it. What you have to do is to deal with it. Accept it. That it has happened. I have to accept it. And once you accept it, and once you reason with it, once you get past that, I don't have a choice, but this is reality, that's when your heart will come into, okay, take a deep breath. Okay, this is the truth and I can't help it. Now I have to figure out a way how to tackle it. Because unfortunately, fortunately, you're a student. You're going to graduate soon and you have to find yourself a job. And your educational qualifications would matter. No one would really pay much attention to Corona chilo, ami porte pari nai. So keep that in mind. It's a necessity. It's something that would help you in the future. It would guide you to get the right job, to land the right job. So this is something that you have to do. But monke jor কতটুকু করানো যায় সেটাই হচ্ছে কথা. But the first thing is accept it. We're still struggling to accept that this is a pandemic and it has taken away my life. Acceptance, when that acceptance comes, you will be able to think, put your thinking hat on and think more constructively. Jeta na korle, it's going to be bad for me. But take your time. Talk to your teachers, talk to your parents, sit with them and tell them, I can't do it. I'm having a hard time. They will help you too. I promise you. You think they won't. You think they're going to look at you funny. Like, what are you thinking? What are you talking about? These days, people do pay attention to mental health. People understand the importance of it. People understand that mental health, jodi thik na thake, nothing works. So your parents will cooperate and support. Talk to your friends. Everybody's going through this thing. Ask them, how are you doing it? Exchange ideas, thoughts, and see if you can come up with better ways. Amar students some of my students, they got together, they made a group, a community, where they talk about their mental frustrations and they let it up and they talk about everything that bothers them, their parents, their teachers, everybody, right? Have that kind of open communication with people, your people, people who won't judge you, people who won't question you, people who won't say you're crazy. Have that kind of group. Talk with them amongst your friends and your confidant, people you believe. You will be in a better place. When you see it's just not you, everybody is in this together. When you see that collectiveness, you will not feel as bad or as lost, and you'll be able to pay attention, hopefully sooner than later. It's a long, winding answer, but I think this covers a lot of other questions that others may have.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. This is Shaun Kabir. I'm a student of Masters of At first, I would like to say that for your good presentations, we learn a lot from you in the situations related. And thanks to HRDA, I have a question, ma'am. This is the situation that we are facing, that the e-learning systems or online system is currently related to our behavior, environment, and blah. My question is, what are the future dependency or connectivity of ecosystem in sense of online education? And I have another question. You know that the system is currently imposed a newly innovative decision about education. So in future, I think a question will be arise about validity of certificate in the world. When we pass the examination and go to do a job, the administration may be asked, "Oh, you are a students of the pandemic online learners, so it impact an academic career. So how could I decreases this kind of situations?" Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so it's a loaded question. So your first part of your question was, how is this pandemic going to affect the ecosystem?
Yeah, ma'am. Ecosystem. Yes.
Ecosystem of what? Like the environment, from an environment perspective, or from education ecosystem?
I want to say that this ecosystem is related to behavior, environment, in sense of online education. Yeah. Because it changed our normal strategy in sense of education. So, what are the connectivity of this ecosystem in this online education?
So if I understood you correctly, you're basically, so I think the question is, you're focusing on how our behavior, under pandemic and after pandemic, the online format of education, all the online behavior, because the behaviors that we have adopted because of remote learning and online communication, how is this gonna affect the education ecosystem, job ecosystem, the future landmark for students? If that's the question, well, it's gonna change everything. Our mindsets are going to, we'll have a different set of minds, right? Our framework will be completely changed. We never thought 2 months ago, 3 months ago, we never thought a little virus can completely destroy our lives. We never thought a little virus could stop us from doing everything that we are doing today. So I think what this is going to do, if I got the question right, is it's going to make us much more resilient. It is going to make us much more prone to accepting unprecedented challenges that we've ever seen before. It's going to make it, if anything, it's going to make us stronger. And whatever the ecosystem might become, we will be able to navigate through those. So, for example, I'm going to bring this back up. When I had the session, there was a little glitch. We had to wait, and then there was I couldn't present share my presentation. Then I had to log out, log back in. I was able to do it. Before I did the session, I never had to do a similar thing, so I wasn't mentally prepared for it. But after the session, I realized, hey, wait, it's not that bad. We can still do it and not lose our audience. And it's not as bad. It can be, if we quickly recover, the impact's going to be very less. So it made me a little bit more resilient. Next time, I'm not going to be as nervous or as worried. What if something goes wrong? I think this pandemic is teaching us the same thing. It's teaching us that your life can be disrupted by something that you never expected, but you are strong enough to come out of it, actually in a better form and in a better shape. I think that's how the whole ecosystem will be impacted by our mindsets. I don't know if I answered your question. but I think that's what you were asking. I'm sorry if I missed it.
Yes, I got it, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Assalamu alaikum, ma'am. I'm Zohail Ahmed from Dhaka University, Department Electrical and Electronics Engineering. First of all, thanks for this great opportunity to talk to each other and also making this session. And my question is, where public university in our country cannot take any attempt to start online classes, online schedules till now, such as Dhaka University, Chittagong University, Jagannath University. In that case, it is how much suitable or effective for private university. Yes, I already started my online classes, and also this is too much appreciating work. But is that really effective or suitable for the students, all of the students, where a few students or maybe a lot of students from rural area or too much native area, then if they ask us or ask our community or ask our from this online session because of they can't join at online session, then who will be the responsible for this attempt? Maybe I asked you. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I asked I understood your question. I need just a yes or no. You said some universities are not doing online teachings or online courses, some public universities. However, some private universities are doing it. And what's the value of doing it if not everybody's doing it? Was that the question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I didn't know that the public universities are not doing it in Bangladesh. If so, somebody can confirm it with me that no public universities in Bangladesh are doing online courses. Is that true?
Ma'am, it's true. Public university is not doing any kind of online sessions for the students.
Ma'am, I just already know about Dhaka University, Chittagong University, and Jagannath University, and probably it's also in Jahangirnagar University. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yes, good. Okay, well, actually, then I would say you guys are lucky because over here in the United States, everything is open. I mean, we just have to switch to online, public, private, anybody. Students, because it's all about students. Listen, universities are here for students. Their goal is to add value to your life. Now, if you're a student, think about it for a second. If you're a student and your work is to go to school and finish your course on time, I don't think it's a good feeling to know that you're falling behind. I don't think it's a good feeling to know that you are losing time or you are spending time that's not going towards your final goal, whatever that is, entrepreneurship, finding a job, being a better person, I don't know. So my take would be if the public universities are not doing it, that could be because it takes, if you remember and go back to the presentation, universities have to take a lot of proactive steps to convert educational format from face-to-face to online. And the teachers have to come up to speed, no time, years worth of work in a couple of weeks. The teachers will have to be accommodating and be skilled enough to run the sessions, because an online session would not be of any value if your classes don't have it will have different performance and quality, but if you don't find any reason to go to the classes, let's put it that way. And it takes for the teachers to be a lot more proactive and a lot more work. So it's just the way things work, public versus private. In Bangladesh, private universities, from what I understand, are the ones that universities do vow for having that one-on-one interaction with students. DIU, I understand, are very much proactive in reaching out to the students, make it a personal experience, in addition to education. So while your question is valid, that everybody should be on the same page, why would I go? Why would I be? You're basically saying, একটা race হচ্ছে, and I'm ahead of the race. I don't want to be ahead of the race. I want to be on the same page. I want to be on the same line with the people who are not running. So, two ways of looking at it. One, you're ahead of the race. So you probably should and probably feel better about it. You're going to a public university who's not doing anything right now. Let's say they're not doing anything. They're just staying at home. If anything, it's not a mental feeling. My heart goes out to them, but I do hope that they're learning something. I don't know how they're going to make up for the sessions that they have missed. If they're missing one full semester, they're one semester behind you. Remember that. You're going to be one semester ahead of them. Your job market would be one less competition from your peer. So try to put a positive twist on it. I would put a positive twist on it and see it to be my advantage that I'm still doing schools, still getting my grades, still moving forward while others can't. That would be my way of looking at it. But I do understand the question is very valid. Why is it that we are having to do it? But I think it's a good thing. And that it's actually it's a blessing in disguise, even though it feels like, oh, আমার বন্ধুরা তো আড্ডা গল্প নিয়ে বেড়াচ্ছে, পার্টি করে বেড়াচ্ছে, খুশি. But you're the one who is moving ahead and getting ahead of the game. Does that help? I don't know if you wanted to hear this response.
Thanks a lot for this suggestion. I have a little bit confusion about this topic. That's why I asked on it. I also know about that if we will not attend in online classes, online sessions, then must be we can't progress as well. This is
No,
interesting.
I would ask the same question. Don't feel bad. আমি যখন দেখবো আমার বন্ধুরা পাবলিক ইউনিভার্সিটিতে অনেক বেশি আনন্দে আছে, ওদেরকে গ্রেডের জন্য কাজ করতে হচ্ছে না, they don't have to perform, they don't have to write a project, they don't have to do assignment, I would be upset that I'm having to work and they don't. So it's a valid question. But it's a good thing for you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. There are so many other participants who are watching live and they are asking questions in the webinar. So I got a big question, but let me summarize it for you. One person from CSE department, he's asking that we are already trying to cope up with this situation, these online classes and so many things. And we are doing, anyway, we are doing it. And his particular query is about if there is any practical classes. There's so many practical classes which need a direct connection with the lab work or something like that. He just wanted to know that how we can actually make it effective. The lab class, the practical class where we need lab and so many other things like this. He wants to know particularly how we can make the lab class more effective in this pandemic through online.
Through online. That's the challenge. There are some things that cannot be replicated online. Think about it. If I was with you in a face-to-face environment, it would have been a total different story. I have been with you in face-to-face. I've been in Ashulia campus. I've been in your main campus. We have had interactive sessions total different energy altogether. Now, online can be an alternative to me for us. Yes, we're gonna miss that energy, but it can still be done. Now, if we were doing something, which is a lab work, right? We were doing something that would require our hands-on involvement. That would require working with my professor, working with my cohort, my fellow student, work together, because we have to see a chemical reaction, right? If you're in a chemistry lab, I can think about chemistry lab because that's where I go back whenever I think about lab. But then we had computer labs, right? For all the programming that we were doing together. So the only way to do it, I don't know how you're doing it in Bangladesh. Over here in the United States, the way we are doing it is the ones that are mandatory, and you must do it to move forward, with your course. They are maintaining PPEs and masks and gloves and all that, maintaining the social distance and doing whatever much they can do. Absolute. The ones that cannot be must be done. It's absolutely have to be done in person. Those are the only ones they're doing. Can they do everything? No. So if you're thinking the total capacity that your lab work is 100% of or 50% of your grade, they're probably doing 10 to 15% of the lab work, keeping the proper safety measure, making sure that they are maintaining the social distancing, and making sure that they understand the risks of being in person. But we're still doing it. We're doing lab work. We're doing activities that must require in-person attendance. Those are happening. The scale is much less than it would have been if it was in a normal time, but ongoing. I don't know how it is working for Daffodil. What are you guys doing? Are you just putting all the lab work on hold for now and planning to do it when things are better? Or are you still doing some lab work?
Ma'am, we are trying to actually come up with a solution in online now, but still we are trying to spread the knowledge which is need lab or something like that. We're trying to be online now, but we hope the pandemic will over and we'll come up with a great solution so far in future. And we're working on it.
Okay, yeah. So I guess I hear the frustration because this is something that you must be doing in person. Again, I want you to fall back on the point that I made earlier and several times throughout today's presentation, is that it's unfortunately we cannot point finger at anybody that it's not happening because somebody dropped the ball. It's not happening because somebody didn't want it. It's not happening because somebody is not competent. We can't blame anybody. Nobody's at fault. Everybody's trying to make up, and I know you understand it. Your question was, how do we do it? I say you have the mindset, accept that it's not going to be done now until we come up with a permanent solution. For the time being, we're going to do it online, which is actually not going to do the work that a real life lab work would do. But it's more like, right? And then accept that. Also accept that I'm losing some time from my life, and it's okay because everybody else is losing some time from their life. It's not just you, not just me, or this next person next to me. It's the world. We're all in this together. Everybody, United States students are also losing their experience on lab work because of COVID-19. A student from Sudan is losing his opportunity, her opportunity. A student in Afghanistan is also going through the same thing. A student in Canada or anywhere else. We're all in Bangladesh, we're all in this together. But it's good to think about these things and make the administration think. This is the reason we're having this session. Speak up so we know where you're hurting, so we can help you. And when I say we, again, I'm adding myself to DIU. DIU is very close to me, but that's what it is. I am helping DIU figure out what needs to be done, right, for you, for the students, for them. So I hope this gives you a little bit of hope, knowing that you already know it, but hearing it again, that it's no one's fault. You're doing your best. Everyone is doing their best, and that we are all in this together.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I hope he got his answer. If there is no question here anymore, and then I want to read another question for you. And okay, I will read later. Please go on.
Okay, sure. Ma'am, I have another question. I have seen your biography. You worked on big data and data science. I just want to know, as a student in Bangladesh, how can I apply in the USA job market, or like in the field of data science, what they actually want, or what is the requirement of their to go for a as a data scientist?
Sure. What's your major again?
Ma'am, I'm doing in software, bachelor in software engineering, but I am doing my thesis in machine learning. But I have interest to do my master's in data science. And I was planning for that, but in that situation, I don't know what will happen next year. Should I be able to go do my master's in the next year or not? But in that situation, what should I do? Should I go for a remote work or wait for my higher education?
Okay, first of all, congratulations for doing machine learning. You're already ahead of the game. Machine learning is a part of data science, a major part of it. So you're already aware and you already understand how. I'm not going into data science class right now. But for you, you're already ahead of it. So keep doing that machine learning course that you're doing. One of your peer from software engineering has already mentioned he's taking data science certified by IBM, right, in Coursera. Go check it out. See if you can do that. Look at.
I'm the same person actually.
Oh. You're okay. It's the same person. So good. You're already ahead of it. We can talk offline. You and I can talk offline. Robbie can share my email with you, and I can give you some tips and tricks.
Okay.
What to do if that's where you want to land, you want to go, and you want to find a job. And we'll talk about it.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Ma'am, I have a question. I have some ignorance in my online class. That means I cannot engage in conversation with my teacher. So how do I overcome this?
First of all, you're engaging very well with me, meaning you're good at communication. By engagement, you mean understanding your class formats and making sure that you're staying on top of the class and assignments and whatnot. So I'm assuming okay, so just say yes or no. Do you guys, can you interact with your teacher while the teacher is doing the online sessions?
Ma'am, please repeat. I cannot hear.
Can you interact? Can you talk to your teacher like you're talking to me when you are on an online session?
No, ma'am. I'm
okay.
Silent in online class.
You keep silent, but there is an option. If you want to talk, you could have talked, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So
actually, I have some ignorance.
Ignorance. Ignorance mean on the topic or on online format, or you're not comfortable?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
You're not comfortable. Okay, you're not comfortable. So my suggestion for you would be talk to your teacher offline. Okay, talk to your teacher offline, meaning not online, maybe in an email, or call your teacher up. Talk to your teacher and ask your teacher how your teacher can engage you more, because you want to be engaged. You want to be more engaged. You want to ask more questions, and you want to make sure that you're asking the right questions. I think you're saying you have fear that you might ask the wrong question and people might judge you or think that you don't know what you're talking about. Talk to your teacher. Your teacher will be able to guide you. You always remember, this is my thing to my sons. I tell them, your best friend as a student is your teacher. No matter how much you like your teacher or not, your teacher should be your best friend, even if you don't like them. Best friend meaning you don't have to tell them everything about your life and your world and everything. Best friend meaning keep an open communication with your teacher. Talk to them. Ask them, what do they want? Oftentimes, students try to read teachers' mind and make mistakes. Don't do that. Talk to your teacher. It's as easy as going to your teacher and ask a couple of questions. One, the teacher would be extremely happy that you pay attention and that you care. And two, the teachers are here to help. We are here to help. So when you ask questions, we feel valued. We feel like we're really doing something where you feel comfortable enough to ask questions. So please go to your teacher offline, not online, before the class, right? Ask your teacher how you can get engaged. Ask your teacher what your teachers would suggest, how you should handle this problem. And I think you should just speak up like you did. There is no ignorance, there is no uncomfortableness. Everybody is the same. Nobody knows more than anybody else does. I mean, you guys know more than I do in so many different subjects. I would not know anything, but that wouldn't stop me from asking questions, right? তোমরা অনেক কিছু জানো বাচ্চারা, অনেক কিছু আমি কিছুই বুঝবো না। my kids laugh at me that mommy doesn't know anything. That's fine. I don't know. Then I tell my kids, what mommy knows, you don't know. It's okay not to know. আমি যেটা জানি সেটা ওরা জানে না, ওরা যেটা জানে আমি সেটা জানি না. It's okay. We're going to learn from each other. Have that attitude. It's okay not to know. There is no ignorance. It's okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am. I have this question, and can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So basically, my problem is, it's not problem, it's kind of situation that I'm facing. It's like before this pandemic started, I used to earn amount of money that I used to pay the bills of my living, and some amount of money that I used to pay the bills for my tuition for the university. So what I'm facing right now is after this pandemic started, I lost my job, and I have earned nothing after started that pandemic or maybe the lockdown. So I'm afraid of paying the tuition fees after finishing this pandemic situation. So I am a student of final year. So I already know that somehow maybe I'm going to fix this problem. But is there any suggestion that you want to give me that might help me to fix this situation?
Yes. So thank you for bringing it up. First of all, I'm sorry that you lost your source of income. But I'm also happy that you did, in a way, because now you're trying to be innovative. This is going to make you tough. You just followed up by saying, I'm going to get out of it somehow. That confidence, right? Having that resilience, that's a good thing. Third, yes, you do have ways. I teach at UNC Charlotte. We had gotten university letters that students here in the United States cannot pay their tuition. A lot of students, they work at, let's say, at a restaurant, they wait tables and they get tips and they get money. And that's what they use for their tuition and for their rent, and all the things that they do. A lot of our students are full-time worker. They work outside. That's the money they use for university. For me, let me tell you about me. I worked to pay my tuition. So I know how it is, how important it is to have the job to be able to pay the tuition. So the fact that you lost it, because again, a valid reason, you didn't lose it because you were being dishonest and you got fired. That's not a good story. That's not a good story of losing a job and then asking for a solution. Your story is a good story. You don't have a choice. It's a lockdown. Everything is closed. You lost it. What I would suggest you to do, and I don't know, again, I don't want to speak for DIU. I would suggest for you to reach out to your university, talk to your university. They do have different ways of accommodating things, probably. They might even be able to help you finding something that you never thought you would find otherwise. This probably is opening a door for you. Reach out to HRDI for that matter. You're a final year student. You have a lot of skill sets that you should be able to offer. There are lots of things happening in HRDI online, remote. It's a bad time for everyone. They might not be able to get you something right away, but they will be able to offer you. They will be able to give you some sort of suggestions as to what your next steps need to be. I want you to reach out to people that you thought you never had to reach out to, but these people are there. And your university is there, facilities are there, administration is there. Please reach out and ask, and you would be surprised. You would be surprised in how many ways you would be helped. Maybe HRDI cannot do anything for you. Maybe you cannot do anything for you, but they can probably point you to somebody who can help you, right? And because you're a final year student, you're already in a really good spot. So congratulations on graduating soon. I do want you to get engaged with the university and understand what's coming up next and how you can help. And I'm sure doors will open for you. And thank you for asking this question. These are difficult questions. A lot of people, we're shy. We don't want to talk about it. It's my personal problem. I don't want to talk about the fact that I can't do it, but it's okay. It's absolutely okay to have problems and to be stressed about it. And you have role model. You have role model at DIU. Gourango sir. Don't go very far. You'll figure your way out. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for the question.
Girl, I have not, the other day in the session, no women spoke up. And today I haven't heard any girl voice yet. Sorry about that, but I'm trying to bring parity. Not that I prefer girls over boys or anything like that. Are girls so shy, they don't want to talk? Is that what it is? Or they don't have any questions? It's okay. I just thought I'd say it. Because last time there was one text that said, good session, but no women got to speak or something like that. I just want to make sure if you want to speak up, any girl or any woman out there, feel free.
Ma'am, there is a female student who maybe is not in the session now, but she has asked a question to you at the chat box.
Okay.
Ma'am, her name is Shamsi Mahajuba. Ma'am, what did you as a teacher found as an opportunity during this pandemic?
silver lining for me during the pandemic, one of the many, I found that I can teach online. I found that I can interact with my students online. I found that I'm not as good online, but I can do an okay job. I found that I'm connecting with the DIU students because of this pandemic. I found that I am a little bit more patient with my children, my two sons. I found that I was extremely, at the beginning of the pandemic, I don't know if it's an opportunity, but I found that I can also be very vulnerable and weak and be sad and borderline depressed because I lost all normalcy. But then I found that I can overcome that and I can come out of it and be stronger, hopefully. I found a lot of good things about me. I had a good self-reflection after this pandemic. The pandemic had the most important thing, and I stop here, that I found is that life is short. Nothing is forever. Nothing is for sure. We should live in the now and today. And that's the way to go. Who knows what tomorrow holds? I used to be a planner, but I wanted to see 10 years ahead of time. Now I know. So this is the opportunity. I would say the pandemic gave me the opportunity to know the power of now, much more than I ever knew before.
Thank you. As we have reached the last moment of the session, we have one question from the chat box. And the question is, he is Mohammed, he's from English department. He's asking you about the possibilities and the prospects of the higher education overseas. That's his queries.
Higher education overseas. It depends on what you want to go for. But I think it depends on the country as well. In Canada, it's one way. In the United States, it's one way. In Australia, it's a different way. I can talk for US. You will have to make sure that first you know what you want to do, right? Then you have to take all the prerequisite course tests, admission tests. As TOEFL is one, that's for test of English, is for language. You have to have a minimum score. And then you have to have SAT if you're coming for undergraduate. If you're coming for master's, you have to take either GRE, GMAT, LSAT, depending on what you want to do. I don't know the details, but I don't mind giving you some guidelines if you communicate with me. But in short, look for the university you're interested in, not just higher study in the US. Which university? Why? What do they want? How do they want you to be prepared? Each and every university, back when I came as an international student, 29, 28, I don't know, however many years ago. And I had to do everything in email. There was no email, there is no website, there is no Google. It was so difficult for you. I would suggest all of you who are interested, go out, Google, look for the university. They have an international, each one of those websites will have an international section. Go through those international sections, make sure you familiarize yourself. There will be a contact information. Usually they will have the director of international studies. Write that person, email that person, asking, I'm interested, what should I do? That's the easiest way of doing it, okay? That's what I would do if I went back 20 years ago. If I had to apply today, these are the things that I would do. I would directly reach out to the school, the international students department, and email them. I would ask them, these are my credentials, this is what I want, how should I proceed? That should help.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ma'am. And we are almost end of the session. I would like to thank all the participants who have directly participated with Bushra ma'am and who are watching us in the webinar. Thank you very much for your kind participation and interactive participation. I hope that you have learned so many things, and at least I believe it has motivated you. I mean, Ms. Bushra ma'am's words. I hope that there will be a lot of following up session like this, and inshallah, we will be engaging more students here with you also again. And I would like to express our heartiest thank you, Bushra ma'am, for your time, for interacting with the students, and for I believe personally that life will change overnight. Life has been changed overnight, and life will not be the same again after the COVID-19. We have learned something, and we will learn something, and we will get a way out for our future to run our daily life and everything. And everything will be normal again, inshallah. As you said that time moves quickly, sometimes time slowly, and obviously it is not my life at this moment. So, ma'am, I will request you to say something as closing remarks, then we will end the session.
Yes, so thank you. Thank you, HRDI, for the invite. And thank you, everybody, for participating. I hope you have a couple of takeaways, hopefully, from this. Either way, I wish you all the best. Like Rabbi said, this time will pass, but it's only going to make us stronger, and we're going to be even more resilient than we have been. So thank you, everybody. Have a good night. And then, I wish you all the best, no matter where you are, what you do, what you're planning to do. Best of luck with everything. Have a good one.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
so much.